I always thought I knew everything about my childhood. My mom used to tell me stories before bed, simple ones about how she met my dad, how we moved cities because of better opportunities, and how we were a normal family trying to get by, and nothing ever felt unusual or missing until the day I found the letters. It started in the attic when I was looking for an old photo album for a school project and noticed a loose floorboard near the corner, so I pulled it up and found a small metal box, dust-covered and locked, but weak enough that I forced it open with a screwdriver. And that's when everything changed, because inside were dozens of letters, carefully stacked and yellowed with a jol addressed to my mom, but written by different names. Some I didn't recognise and some I did, and then I saw one envelope that made my hands go cold, my name, so I opened it and saw when it wasn't my mom's but my father's, except according to everything I knew my father had died when I was 3 and my hands were shaking as I read the words, "Someday when you're old enough, tell him I never abandoned him. Tell him I was forced to disappear." And I stopped breathing as I read it again and again, realising the letter talked about surveillance, about being watched, about a deal my mother made to keep me safe, and that my father didn't die. He was taken, and suddenly my entire childhood felt like it was built on a version of reality designed to protect me from something I was never supposed to understand. So I didn't sleep that night, and the next morning I confronted my mom, and she froze the moment she saw the letter in my hand before sitting down at the kitchen table, like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. And after a long silence, as she said, "I was hoping you'd never find those." And when I asked if it was true, she didn't deny it, instead telling me my father wasn't dead, but was part of something dangerous that made people uncomfortable. And when they realised he wouldn't stop, they gave her a choice: disappear with me and erase him from my life, or stay and risk losing both of us. And she chose me, and she told me they gave her a new identity, a new city, a new story, and every detail of my childhood was rewritten, so I would never ask the wrong questions. And I felt like the floor had been taken out from under me. Everything I remembered, birthdays, bedtime stories, even old family photos, suddenly felt staged. So I asked her, was any of it real? And her eyes filled with tears as she said, "Every moment with you was real, but the world around us wasn't safe enough for the truth." Which didn't comfort me, because now I didn't know what I was escaping from or whether I was still being protected. So that night I went back to the attic and read every letter one by one until I found the last own dated just 2 years ago, from my father saying he had been watching from a distance and never stopped trying to find Jews, and that if I ever discovered the truth, I would have a choice of my own to stay hidden or finally know everything. And at the bottom was an address, no explanation, no signature, just coordinates. And I sat there in silence, realising something terrifying. My childhood wasn't just a Lee, it was a door, and someone had just given Meth the key.